Welcome to the show that takes up no more than 5 minutes of your time, but could help you gain massive real estate knowledge. It's 5 Minutes in Real Estate with best-selling author Shane Willis.
Hello, it's Shane Willis, Pensacola real estate expert, bringing you today's episode. Happy Tuesday. It's a nice one out here today. Lots of interesting articles this morning in the Wall Street Journal, including one that talked about rental investors like Blackstone, which is one of the biggest rental management buyers. They bought a bunch of paper during the crash. A bunch of properties have been renting them out. I think they got something like 26,000 units rented out across the country. Are starting to buy. They raised another $1 billion. They'll leverage that into a couple of $1 billion worth of investments, but they're buying in a little more upscale areas in Miami, Nashville, a couple other areas, basically banking on the lower inventory of properties to be helping the more affluent who are just going to turn to renting. Instead of buying. So they're kind of banking on that. Goes to show you there's different plans out there right now for real estate as far as investment is concerned. It's not what I was going to talk about today. There was a different report came out that talked about the longevity, how long it normally takes people to stay in a property, how long people normally stay there. From 1985 to 2008, so 20 plus years, the average time someone lived in a home was 6 years. Take that to 2014, the numbers have jumped almost 50% by saying 10 years now. People are staying there 10 years instead of the shorter time frame. This is hurting our supply right now when we're seeing a normal turnover of 6 years. That does kind of hurt a little bit of supply. Well, why was that? Why do people stay a little longer now? Well, we saw the negative equity happen between 2008 and 2015. There were some people upside down, so they couldn't move. They couldn't sell unless they had a hardship where they were forced to, a job move, what have you. Then they were just not going to pick up and move because they didn't have any equity. So they just stayed in their property. Now, 97.5% of Americans are back above water with their household equity. There are still a few short sales. I actually started a new short sale this past week, which was interesting. I haven't done a short sale in a little bit because the market those have gone away for now. Is real estate cyclical? Well, do I think I will see them again in my real estate career? Yes. Do I think I'm going to see them again anytime soon? No. Nowhere near it. I can only really look at about 5 years, but based on all the economists that I'm looking at there, based on all their data, even the bears, the ones that say things are going to go down, see real estate as being positive over the next 5 years. Not quite as much as the bulls. I think the bulls think they're going to get about 15% equity in the next 5 years. The bears think you're going to get about 5% equity in the next 5 years. So if you only get 1%, but you own a $300,000 house, you're basically making an extra $3,000 towards your net worth, towards your wealth. But the article said that we have stopped moving as much. But it wasn't by design. It was literally, this was just remnants of the crash. Because they do say that there's some baby boomers. The article goes on and says, listen, there's people that are living in houses they really don't need to. It's the baby boomers who the kids have moved out, yet they still have a 5-bedroom colonial. Or it's the millennials who bought something earlier and are still living in a 2-bedroom condo when they've got 2 kids now or 3 kids now, and they really need more, but this is where we were stuck at. So that's kind of remnants of what happened with the crash, but I think that's also hurting our supply chain some, and that's one of the reasons prices are still up, is because supply is still down most price points. Now, if you've listened to me at any amount of time, you know that I always say it's never really a seller's market or a buyer's market. You have to go price point by price point. And in Escambia County, Santa Rosa County, the 3 to 350 price point has actually got 7.1 months worth of inventory right now. That number hasn't changed much. But that means that people at that price point, at that 300 to 350 price point, have to differentiate themselves, because that price point has tipped ever so slightly towards a buyer's market. So there is more inventory. If somebody's looking between a 3 and 350 house, they got more to choose from. They got a lot more to choose from. Now, if they're looking at 2 to 250, there's only like 3.1 months worth of inventory. So that's right at what's considered a hyper seller's market. So these inventory levels are kind of affected by the fact we're not moving as much. Do I think that we're going to go back with the economy the way it is, jobs the way they are right now? Do I think we're going to go back to probably moving every 6 years? Yeah, probably. That seems like that's going to go back to the trend from 1985 to 2014, or 2008, excuse me. That was a long time, and I think that trend will probably return now that we're post the financial crisis that we felt. All right, that's all I got for you today. As always, if you hadn't subscribed to get the tips, tricks, the graphs, the infographics, all the links to what I'm finding this information. I don't just pull this information out of thin air. I actually do my research and I cite anybody that does it, and I make sure that I send those links to you. Get over to 5minutesinrealestate.com. That's 5minutesinrealestate.com. Also, if you've not subscribed to the podcast, go to your listener of choice. iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, whatever you want to do. Make sure you hit subscribe. Give us a thumbs up, give us a heart, give us a nice comment. I'd appreciate it. And finally, I always end the podcast the same way. I never ask for any money for this, although it does cost me money to put these together. I don't ask you to pay me anything. I do say that if I brought you any value at all in this episode or any other episode, I ask that you share it on social media. Thanks for listening.